Are you always coming up with ideas? Do you marvel at successful business owners? Do you hate being told what to do? Ever take things apart just to see how they work? Are you a dreamer? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Pro Tapes and Specialties is the world leader in tape manufacturing and specialty conversion with over 40 years of experience. In addition to our pro brand of high-quality specialty adhesive tapes, we provide contract converting services that help improve your profitability, streamline your supply chain, and reduce inventory cost. We offer the most complete range of converting capabilities in the industry, such as cloth tape, double-coated tape, specialty tape, paper tape, masking tape, vinyl tape,
carton sealing tape, adhesive transfer tape, duct tape, foam tape, electrical tape, filament tape, foil tape, reflective tape.
And the tape just keeps on rolling. Visit us online today at www.protapes.com or call us at 800-345-0234. Pro Tapes, it's just how we roll.
Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Entrepreneurial Enclave, Life's Coming Attraction. I am your host. Man, I am thrilled beyond belief today. I get to reconnect with my brother, Tim McRae. Tim, what's going on, doctor? How are you?
Yo, what's going on, Kevin? You know where I'm at, and you know what I'm doing.
All right. Well, I don't know what you're doing, but
well, we about to talk about it.
Yes, sir. So, first of all, I want to say, and this is kind of like an inside joke, God bless the child has got his own. So
you ain't lying about that, brother, and I'm with you.
Absolutely. So, Tim McRae, who is Tim McRae? Why is Tim McRae so famous in the Trenton, New Jersey, Ewing Township, Mercer County area, and perhaps beyond? What is Tim all about?
That's funny, Kev. I don't consider myself famous, man. I'm just that normal dude, man. And I've seen money change people, and I've seen fame change people, but it won't change me, man. I know a lot of people. My family's been here based in the Trenton community since 1948. My dad started a business in East Trenton, and I kind of just grew up as an entrepreneur, man. I'm a fourth-generation entrepreneur. I'm a humble guy. I'm a brother. I'm an uncle. I'm a grandfather. I'm just that regular dude, man. So I don't see myself as famous, but I can tell you this much.
Yes, sir.
I like to smile. Yes. I like to talk to people.
Yes, sir.
And I definitely love to have a good time.
And you love to cook, but we're gonna talk about that in a second. So let's go back to East Trenton.
Yes, sir.
Wilbur section. Your father started which business?
My father started McRae Brothers. McRae Brothers consisted of carpet. We did laundromats. We had over 18 laundromats. We had an oil company. We did landscaping, bridge painting. We would board up the houses. So any boarded up house you see in Trenton,
yes.
we had something to do with it.
Wow.
So whether it was a drug raid or a fire, we had a lot of city contracts. We did a lot under Doug Palmer's administration.
Yes.
And we had a lot of businesses going on, man. So I was born and raised in that.
Wow. So now, question. What started the entrepreneurial spirit, the entrepreneurial push in your father?
Well, you're going to laugh about this one, Kev.
Yeah.
First and foremost, like I said, I'm a fourth generation. I'm sorry. Let me rewind. This makes me a fifth generation entrepreneur.
Wow.
So my dad's dad was a sharecropper in South Carolina, and of course he was also a slave. So as he was a slave, he was also the butcher. He also washed and dry cleaned the clothes. They had their own method of organic dry cleaning back then.
Yes.
They washed and cleaned the clothes, and he also was a butcher. And what he did is he just passed that sharecropping knowledge and that entrepreneurial spirit down to my father and beyond. So it's in the bloodline, man. I'm not, people say that as a joke, but just like championship dogs and stuff like that, AKC bred dogs, it's in our bloodline. The McRaes and Masons, we are entrepreneurs from the dirt in Dillon, South Carolina.
Wow. Now you just said a mouthful there, so we've got a lot of time today, man. So I hope you do, and I want us to slow down and unpack what you said. So first of all, you're talking about oral history, And that's something that it's almost unheard of today. We don't pass down historical facts about our ancestors, about our family tree. So one,
Exactly.
that is impressive that your father would share that with you. That most impressive. Now let's go back to the emotional side of that connectivity of being a slave. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Does he know the family that had owned his great grandfather or his grandfather?
Yes, the family was the McRaes, and as you may or may not know, the Irish were slaves themselves, so they didn't really take on slaves. They held us more as indentured servants that worked on the land and sharecropped.
Yes.
So that's kind of how the name sharecropper came along. You shared in cropping the land.
Yes.
They didn't want to call us slaves because the Irish, like I said, they were treated badly here. The Italians, when they came here, they looked down on the Irish.
Yes.
So the Irish were the white Negroes,
Gotcha.
if you really break down your history. So with that being said, most of the Irish slaves and stuff like that went to Jamaica. That's why when you go to Jamaica, you have names like McLaughlin, McLaughlin,
Yes.
all the MC names. So that's, one of the running jokes about being a Mick is your name has MC in it.
Yeah.
So originally, Kev, the McRae name, and my dad didn't tell me this till he was on his deathbed 4 or 5 years ago, it had 2 C's in it. So they dropped one of the C's. So
wow.
it used to be MCCRAE.
Wow.
They dropped one of the C's. They made the lowercase c, lowercase, and made the R capital, which gave us the McRae name. But that history of that family that owned our people, they more or less had us as indentured servants. We worked the land. That we were able to build our own housing. They didn't treat Willie and all those guys. That's my grandfather's name.
Yes.
They didn't really treat them as badly as I hate to say it, as badly as the other slaves.
Got you.
It was more of we shared in the land. You ate what you want. Like I said, my great grandfather was a butcher. So when they would butcher the meat, they would get more than just the hog maws, the feet, and everything else. They got some of the pork chops. They got some of the shank.
Yeah.
So it was for them. It was survival, man. And the Irish family, the McRaes that owned my people. I won't say they were bad because I don't know them.
Yes.
And I don't know exactly what happened, but I do know a little bit about their history, and that's not from ancestry. So I didn't put no swab in my mouth to get that information.
Yeah. You wouldn't have got that though, man. That's straight.
No, sure enough, what I don't trust them things anyway.
That's literally straight from the horse's mouth that you just gave us.
Yes, sir.
So your grandfather is this sharecropper slave. He passed this skill set and this desire. But I mean, it had to be more. So I guess it felt like a level of freedom to be in that type of control.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Well, if he couldn't break the generational curse of slavery,
Yes.
what he could do was empower the mind of the entrepreneur.
Yes.
And that's all they knew was work, man.
Okay.
And I used to look at it like, man, this is you guys work too much.
Yeah.
But now, as I'm older, I appreciate what they taught us.
Yes. Yes.
I've been an entrepreneur. I haven't had a boss in years, man, and it feels really, really good.
Got you. So when your father comes to Trenton, he sees
Yes,
this
sir.
need and he begins to immediately. What's his first business that he begins to start?
That's funny you asked that, Kev. You're going to love this one. So I'm going to break it down for you.
Yeah.
So when my father first came to Trenton, he got a job at Wenzel Tile. All right. Now, if nobody knows anything about Wenzel Tile, it was a tile company over there, I think near the Mulberry, Congolium, that whole section, De La Valle.
Yeah.
It was a plant over there, and he worked till 2:30.
Okay.
Then when he got done work at 2:30, being an old farmer, man, his day wasn't done. They was used to working sun up to sundown. That
Yes.
wasn't literally a saying. That was how they worked.
Yes.
You worked till it got dark. So he got a part-time gig. He seen an ad in the paper and he answered it. It was janitorial, which I'm sorry, that's one of the businesses I forgot that we had. Janitorial is how McRae Brothers started.
Wow.
So here's the deal, Kev. You're gonna love this.
Yeah.
So he bought a floor waxing machine,
Okay.
and he promised you 10 leads of companies that would let you come and clean their floor, and you would start off, being a janitor, waxing the floors with a machine, and you buff it.
Yes.
So he put this machine in the back of his station wagon, and in hopes of getting these 10 jobs, he only got 2.
Okay.
The first one he got was a company called Ball Brothers, and I'll spell it for you, Baugh.
Okay.
They were an oil company out of South Jersey. So they went there and they cleaned the floors. And back then, Kev, everything was the PVC tile, so
Yes.
it would shine up really nice. So the guys came in the next morning, and when they opened the door, nobody wanted to step on the floor because they thought it was wet.
Wow.
Man, they did just such a good job on that floor
Yes.
that the Ball brothers, who were two brothers, which I believe the sons are running the business now, told everybody in that area, and they got a contract with the base down there, with McGuire Air Force Base.
Okay.
And once they got that base contract, man, let me tell you something. That was the most money they ever seen. So my dad never got the 10, the 10 jobs he was supposed to got.
He got
one good job, man, and that sent him to the moon. And that's how we started with the janitorial. And then the janitorial bled into everything else.
Wow. That's awesome, man. Because I think I still occasionally see those trucks around now.
No, believe it or not, even myself, I'm out of the oil. You might see the Ball brothers around, Baugh.
Yeah.
I think they're still in business. But as far as McRae Oil, we have definitely gotten out of business. I got out in 2018, and my dad and their company, they retired in 2008.
No. We're going to get to that story.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the other oil company that you had mentioned from South Jersey.
Yes, they are still around. Yes, they are.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So your father's doing the janitorial. And then when does he transition and say, I'm going to add another part to the business? That's what I'm going to talk about now.
Well, you're going to laugh at this as well.
Yeah.
One thing about opportunity, Kev, people say, oh, opportunity comes to those who wait. No, opportunity comes to those who knock on that door, kick it down, and seize that opportunity.
Absolutely.
So once again, my dad's at work.
Yes.
So they always say, the old Italian term for the mafia guys, if you ever want to do business with a man, find a man that has a business, because you can always find him at his place of work.
Yes.
So my dad's at work, and a Jewish man approaches him. He says, Luther, I love your style. I love your work ethic. Let me show you these laundromats that I have, and I don't have no kids, and I'm looking to sell them.
Okay.
So, my dad, another business opportunity, and it came right to him, Kev. He didn't seek this out.
Yes.
So he was just going to work trying to get that check from Winslow Tile, and ended up, this guy took him around to some of these locations. Now, at the time in Trenton, people don't realize, we owned every laundromat from East Trenton, North Trenton, West Trenton, and South Trenton.
Who? You guys?
So, McRae Brothers. Yes,
what?
sir. And we ran the laundromats in Lawrence Square Village out here in Lawrence Township. So
wait, stop. Now we're going too fast. Let's slow down again.
Yes, sir.
So the Jewish man introduces your father to this opportunity.
Yes.
And at that time, he had established all of these laundromats.
Yes.
Wow.
So what happened was, my dad got the opportunity,
yes,
and he said, look, I want to sell all these laundromats to you.
Yes.
And he gave him a great price. I don't exactly remember what the total number was,
yes,
but the first thing he told my dad was like, oh, I'm going to call these, McRae Brothers or McRae whatever. And the guy was like, no, don't change the name on all of them.
Uh-huh.
Only change the name on your main office. He said, so that way when people get mad, don't like you, have something bad to say, they're going to go to another laundromat, not even know that they're stepping into one of your other laundromats. So anytime you wash clothes in Trenton, New Jersey, whether you went to the one on the boulevard, we own that on Ingham, the Hermitage in the shopping center, we own that laundromat, dry cleaners. We had all the little laundromats in South Trenton, the little pop-up speed queen shops.
Yes.
And like I said, the ones in Lawrence Square Village. So we had all these laundromats, and we never changed the name except for the main office, which is at 130 Chambers Street and Tioga, which is now a vacant lot.
Yes.
But we owned every laundromat that you stepped into, and people weren't even, I'll go somewhere else. And we were just like, oh, well, we're sorry that you're upset, or, whatever the case is. But little did they know they were stepping into another McRae Brothers.
Okay, now, Tim, we got to slow down again. Man, brother, you going too fast for me because I've got to interject right now.
Yeah.
Man, I remember that was so smart, because I remember back in the day, you would see these different laundromats, and I never knew they were connected to you. The only one that I knew that was connected to you was the one that you just mentioned, the main office one.
Wow. And that was owned by the Roebling complex. That was a wire shop at one time that the Roeblings owned.
Wow, man. See, this is a history that more folks need to know.
Yes.
Man, that was incredible. Wow.
Yes. But I can tell you this much. I'm sorry, okay, go ahead.
No, so you were saying at that time there were what was 16, 18 laundromats?
Yeah, 18 in total, including the ones in Lawrenceville, which were in Lawrence Square Village. So, people would see us in the evenings and we'd be out collecting our coins at these laundromats. And I was a kid at the time.
Yes.
And people would be like, oh, Luther, what you doing here? My dad would be like, oh, just collecting the coins for the owner.
Gotcha. Yeah, smart
and
man.
He would never tell the people that he was the owner.
Yeah, smart man. Wow.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to move in silence. Wow.
You do, man. And as an entrepreneur, people are going to hate on you, and people are going to get jealous. But you can never let them break your spirit, because you know what? Your job is to maintain a certain facade and maintain what you're trying to build.
Yes.
And if you let everybody in on your secrets, they can destroy them from within.
Yes.
But if you don't tell them what's going on, they don't even figure out, the strategy or what they're trying to do or what they need to do, if they need to do anything at all.
Wow. Okay, now let's take a break for a second, Tim.
Yes, sir.
And this is in full disclosure. This is our second taping, right?
Yes, correct. It is. Yes.
The first taping that we did does not exist.
No, not at all.
But I am so glad that you and I had a chance to reconnect, because I'm getting more information from this one than we did from the first one. So, brother, thank you. Yeah.
Well, I had a chance. I had a chance to sit down, and what I want to explain to people is, man, our heritage as Black people is really, really rich.
Yes.
We built this country, Kev. We all know it.
Absolutely.
People can deny it. They can say what they want. I'm still waiting on my 40 acres and a mule. but while I'm waiting, I'm gonna go out and grab everything else that I can that's owed to me. But I'm working for it.
Yes. Yes.
I don't sit back and wait for a handout.
Understood.
But yeah, man, I'm supposed to share this information because it's got to be passed on to the youth.
Yes.
We can all be more than just rappers and Instagram stars and TikTok stars. We are a resilient people, man.
Well,
we have survived things that most races couldn't survive, Kev.
Yeah, no. I mean, I agree. But it's funny that you say Instagram, because I mean, you're an Instagram star yourself, though. I see you with your. But we're gonna hold that. I'm just gonna say it, but we're gonna hold it because I want you to finish the other story. But I see you as to how you're promoting your business. You're a star. You're a major influencer in your own right. So don't.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. And I'm gonna use that as a McRae. I'm gonna take full advantage of a free platform.
Absolutely. Okay. So your father has got the laundromat. You're going around collecting the coins. When is the next acquisition?
Well, first what he does is he brings in his brother Ernest, which is his twin brother. So my dad had a twin brother, and I'm sorry, all the McRae brothers now are deceased. Okay. My dad lived to 89. Okay. All of his brothers lived a good, long life.
Yes.
So he brings in his twin brother Ernest, who was working at Congolium at the same time, and he was working at Winseltal as well.
Okay.
So he brings him in, and then they start heating service, because my uncle was fluid and fixing machines and heaters and stuff like that.
Yes.
And then once they brought him in, they went into the oil and heater business. They brought in my Uncle Dave.
Okay.
Now, my Uncle Dave was good friends with a little-known man called Mr. Sample, and him and Mr. Sample kind of got started, I want to say about the same year, in the oil business.
Okay.
So he, met with Mr. Sample, seen what he was doing, said, hey, this is the wave of the future, because, at that time, you got to be watching what the trends are doing. Absolutely, so as the coal man is disappearing, the next fuel source was oil, heating oil.
Yes.
So he got into that business via Mr. Sample. So there was, it was Sample, McRae Brothers, and I know I'm missing one company. I can't think of it right now, Kev. There was 3 Black-owned oil companies in Trenton, New Jersey at that time, and McRae Brothers was one of the first 3.
Okay.
So they brought the brothers in, and then they started the name McRae Brothers.
Okay.
And then from there, man, the world became their oyster. They were making money, Kev, hand over fist.
Wow.
And when I say that, I mean literally hand over fist. And it wasn't their intention.
Yes.
They were just doing what they normally did, trying to acquire and gather as much as they could. They were all sharecroppers.
Yes.
They owned and sharecropped so much land in South Carolina, people thought that they owned the land.
Wow.
But they didn't. They were sharecropping. That word sharecropper means just that we share in the crop.
Yes.
So if there's 100 acres, 50 acres is yours, 50 acres is mine for working the land.
Yes.
You know? And then, of course, I'm going to throw this in there, Kev, because I can do it now. They deceased, so they can't get mad at me.
Yeah.
At the time, when they weren't sharecropping, they were in the woods at their still making what they called stump hole.
Stump pole is
Now,
moonshine.
Moonshine, yes, sir. I'm using the old Southern terms that they use.
Yeah.
So they had the best moonshine in Dillon, South Carolina.
Wow.
And their moonshine went as far as Connecticut and as far south as the Florida. And the reason being, Dillon was a small train town.
Yes.
So a lot of the conductors and the people that worked on the train, the porters,
Yes.
you know what I mean? A porter was a person that, assisted you on the train or cooked on the train or did whatever they could on the train, but most porters were black. So they would service all the porters with liquor because the porters loaded the trains. So they would take that liquor and they would sell it out of state, and they also sold it in state, which is one of the reasons why they had to leave Dillon, South Carolina at one point in time. We'll get into that story in a little bit.
Yeah, got chased out of Dillon.
They did, but they wanted to see opportunity, man. Dillon is a very small town. If you've been down 95 and you've seen Pedro south of the border, right behind south of the border is the little town of Dillon. Yeah, and when I say it's small, man, everybody knows everybody there, and everybody there is related.
And you know what, man? I'm cautionarily saying this. I've got people from Smokes in Dillon. Yeah, my father was from Dillon, I believe. Willie Wortham. Wow.
Willie Wortham. There you go.
Wow.
Willie. He might have known Willie and Maud McRae. That was my dad's father and mother.
Yeah, I've got to talk to someone about that. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, so now they've got the heating business going on.
Yeah.
This is going well. Now, here's my next question. So
yes, sir.
He's a black man with a heating oil company. Where are you buying your oil from?
We're buying our oil from Duck Island. Okay, which was located in South Trenton in a section called Duck Island.
Yes.
And the only way you know it's back there is if you're an oil company or you're back there bird hunting or you're back there doing something you shouldn't be doing. Because there's about 2 or 3 terminals back there. At the time, there was Tattersalls.
Okay.
Duck Island, which was owned by Howie and his family, which I still talk to Howie to this day.
Okay.
And the other company back there was called Consumer Oil, and they're still around today as well.
Okay, and so it's coming in on the ships.
Yeah, we're coming on the ship or the pipeline. They would dredge the Delaware, so they would get a nice little barge to come through there, and then they opened up a pipeline. Just because, believe it or not, the Delaware got too shallow to bring those big boats down, but some of them still do come down that river.
Okay, because most folks would know Duck Island now, because that's where PSE&G has one of their generation plants.
Exactly, that's one of their main generator plants, and it's also a good spot to hunt for birds and ducks.
Yeah, or do other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, if you're a guy, you had a car, or a girl, you had a car. I'm sure you've been back there.
Yeah, because I don't hunt for no ducks back there.
yeah, me neither.
All right.
Only ducks I look for is the sitting ducks that's right next to me.
Understood. So your I guess your uncle is going there. They're picking up their supply of oil.
Yes, and we're paying cash for it, Kev. So we're not getting credit for anything. So when we roll out of there, we own that oil.
Wow.
Yeah, that was one of the keys I learned in business. Whenever you can avoid credit, don't get it.
Yes.
If you can avoid the credit and pay cash for it, pay cash for it.
Yes.
And that's what we did, man. And that's how we were able to build such an empire. We tried to pay cash for everything.
Got you. That makes sense because I wow. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man, if you're in business and you got a whole bunch of debt,
Yeah.
you don't want to be in business to pay your debt. You want to be in business to make a profit and be able to live your life
Yeah.
off the money that you're making.
Yeah.
And the best way to do that is try to avoid credit. I learned early, even with credit cards. I don't do credit cards no more. I'm 51 now.
Yeah.
I learned my lesson in my 20s. I won't touch a credit card. I got one credit card now, and it's got a $500 limit.
Got you. All right. now you just dropped jewels real quick. So let's
Yes,
back
sir.
up, let's back up again because
Okay.
I want the listening audience to understand that, right?
Oh, yeah, we're going to break it down. If I have to talk slower, I will. No, it's not.
no. All right, so give it to me one more time. So they would roll up to the
Mhm.
to the heating line to the terminal,
Mhm.
and they
Mhm.
would pay cash because well, first of all, how much oil did one of those trucks hold? What 150
The-
gallons or 200?
The
200
average truck at that time was holding anywhere from 2,000 to 3,400 gallons.
Okay.
So we had two trucks at the time. We had a McGarrett that held 2,800, and then we had another GMC that held 3,400 gallons.
Wow.
So, so during the winter, we would run two trucks.
Yes.
And back then, I mean, I can remember oil as cheap as 33 cents, 34 cents. Now, mind you, Kev, like I said, I'm 51, so I'm
Yeah.
going back to when I was a kid on that truck because I used to pull that hose.
Yeah.
But oil was about 30 cents, and we would sell it for, 50% markup. So if it was 30 cents, we were selling it for 60 and 69 cents.
Got you. And you
At that time.
and so if you had like let's say you said 2,800 gallons,
Yes, 2,800 gallons.
you paid cash for that whole load.
You paid cash for that whole load, but let me tell you how slick my Uncle Dave was.
Yeah.
Because you know us people, like I said, we resilient. We know how to survive.
Yeah.
There'd be times where he might go down and pick that oil up at 9 o'clock in the morning,
Got you.
and the money not even be in the bank, and he would write a check. But by the end of that day, all that oil was sold, and that money was in the bank, and he was coming back for another load later on that afternoon to pick up for the next day or to run to late in the night. Because, back in the day, Kev, you could work till 10, 11 o'clock at night on the oil truck.
Yeah.
People had respect for people on the streets.
Yeah.
You respected the oil man, the mailman, and the meter reader from PSC&J.
Yeah.
Everybody else in the hood was fair game, but those people was off limits.
Yeah. Don't mess up my oil now.
Yeah, don't mess with my oil. Don't mess with my check that's coming in that mail.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So I see how he was paying for cash. Yeah. I got you.
But like I said, when he had the cash, he would pay for it. But if he didn't have the cash at the moment, he would write a check. But, man, by the time he dropped that check off and got out there and hustled, man, that money was already in the bank. By the time they went to the bank, that money was already in there.
Got you. Now, a competitive question.
Yes, sir.
When did, because I'm familiar with your truck, but when did Joe Brown oil come into play?
Believe it or not, Joe Brown came in about 2 or 3 years after Sample and McRae started. So, yes, that was the third company. Thank you very much for bringing that up. Mr. Brown, Rodney, his son Darwin,
yes.
And Darwin's still out there today. So Joe Brown, big shout out to Joe Brown Oil. But they were one of the top 3 oil companies, McRae Brothers, Sample, and Joe Brown Fuel.
And you guys,
but they came in maybe 2-3 years after my dad started.
Okay, and you guys were doing all of Trenton and vicinity at that time.
Yes, Trenton, Morrisville. We had the base. So our connection through the janitorial, Kev, let me tell you how we were blessed.
Yes.
Our connection with janitorial at the base of McGuire ended up getting us the housing down there. Okay. All the housing on that base was oil, Kev. We would go down there with 2 trucks. We would designate a day, and we would fill up all of their properties, over 5,400 gallons for the military housing down there and the buildings on that base. So that alone kept us afloat. That was a day's worth of work, dropping all that oil down there at McGuire Air Force Base.
Man, listen, brother.
Yeah. Networking and putting out good work will get you more work.
Yeah, but
and that's what we're trying to teach here with this entrepreneur enclave, right?
No.
To be an entrepreneur, you got to keep it moving. You got to have something that people want.
No. I get that part, but what I'm saying in terms of why I am so amazed presently is because I don't know why when you and I did the first taping, this energy wasn't existing. But this is, oh man, I'm feeling your story. This is informative. You are a great storyteller, man. This is history unfolding. This is audible history. So thank you.
No, listen, I thought about the last interview, Kev. Listen, I was in the shower, and I thought about the last interview as the water was hitting me. I said, this interview, I'm going to go deeper because people need to know and understand what the McRae name means, McRae Brothers. And people say there's a lot in the name. There really is, Kev.
Yes.
And when you know your history and you can go back 4 or 5 generations and have a good story to tell, brother, you talking to the right one. Because I learned everything that they was teaching, and I kept my ears open, and I learned, man. And that was the biggest thing they could have ever did. I'd always tease my dad when he's like, the worst thing you ever did to me, Dad, was teach me how to make $1. Because I've been chasing it ever since.
Got you. But you know what? I'm feeling right now, man, because I would say last week, I did an episode with the Hallett brothers, right?
Oh, yeah, man. Great family, man. Big family, too.
Yeah, and one of the things that I'm learning and one of the things that I'm thinking that I need to birth, man, is I need to do a whole series on just family entrepreneurialism because,
Yeah, even if we just sat down and had some type of small conference and talked about the history of these families. Because, of course, we know the Halletts, and, our family was just as large, and much respect to them, man. There's a lot of people here that people just see the name and they don't think nothing of it, but they don't know how deep the history runs.
Absolutely. So continue, man, because I'm going to just let you just spit and rock right now. So So you're dedicating one day. You're going down to McGuire Base, and you're filling up all their housing.
Every house they had down there, anything that took oil, we put oil in it. Even if it didn't take oil, we put oil in it. So my uncle, the job was when we left there, he used to say, when we leave here, I want this truck light and bright. He wanted it to bounce all the way back to Duck Island. Because when they loaded, they ride real heavy. But man, we would empty the trucks down there. I'm talking down to the last drop. Guys.
Wow.
So that was a blessing. And as a kid, I loved riding on the oil truck. That's what begot my love for the oil business, riding on the truck and pulling the hose.
Now, how heavy was that hose, man?
Well, the hose, when it's full, if you were pulling it, if you situated yourself right and threw it over your shoulder, it was anywhere from 75 to 80 pounds, but it was the pull that would get you, because once the hose hit the ground, then, you had what we call the drag factor. So now you have to put your body, your force, lean forward and drag that hose. That's why we appreciated snowy days, because once it hit that snow, it would slide like ice on hot glass. But as a kid, man, that kind of built my legs up, built my strength up. It taught me how to get low. It taught me angles. And it really just, people don't look at things of what can I learn from this? Anybody can do this. There's a lot to be learned in everything we do.
Absolutely.
And one thing I have to say, man, that taught me the value of $1, because that's all they paid us. We got $1 per stop.
Wait, you got a $1 per house?
A $1 per stop. But now mind you, listen, by the end of the day, when you get them tickets back to the office and you had 100 and something stops or 80 something stops, that was a lot of money for a kid, 9, 10, 11 years old. So I was making, on average, about $100 a day on the oil truck.
That's all right.
So you're talking about being 11, 12 years old, man, having $500 a week. Back in the time where, man, that was what, early, late 70s, early 80s? Man, I thought I was rich.
You was balling.
I sure enough was. And I was a saver too, Cat. So I would take my money and I would put it in a shoebox.
Gotcha.
And I would let it accumulate.
Got you. Wow. So,
and once I seen that, I would take anytime I got to 500, I put a rubber band around it and put it in my shoebox.
Gotcha. That's all right. So listen now. So now we've got the oil business going on.
Yes.
When do we acquire another business?
Well, you're gonna laugh, Kev. This is the one that got my love for food, other than the fact that I like to eat.
Yes.
At our laundromat on Chambers Street, we had a little cutout in the building that we used as a little ice cream stand and food stand.
Okay.
So around about, I can't remember the exact year, I want to say 84, maybe even 83.
Okay.
My uncle says, hey, Tim, I want you to run the ice cream place. Since you're good with people, you love to talk to people. I want you to run the ice cream place and, sell stuff out of there. So I want you to put together a menu of what you want to serve out of there.
Yes.
Man, why did they do that, Kev?
Okay.
So first and foremost, I'm a Husky kid, so I like to eat.
Yeah.
So aside from the ice cream, we bought prepackaged ice cream so it wouldn't go bad or melt. Kept it in the freezer, easy sell on a hot day. Because I'm thinking as a kid, when you eating that ice cream, you hold on to that stick and it's running down your hand.
Yes.
That's what you're thinking about, man. This is so good. So then popcorn, hot dogs, hamburgers, cheeseburgers, candy.
Yes.
We were near the Levin. I don't know if you remember this, Kel. I'm going back now. The Levin Candy Company was in Trenton. So we would go to Levin Candy.
Okay.
They had two locations. One was back off there near the old fairgrounds off of Nottingham Way.
Okay.
And one was on Hamilton Avenue. They had a little spot there.
I remember the one on Hamilton. Gotcha. Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
So we would go there and get candy. And then the hamburgers and stuff, believe it or not, we was getting them from Murray's at that time. Man, let me tell you, them little Murray's burgers, you put some cheese on them and throw them on that little grill.
Yeah.
Man, the things are so good. So I had a little package of a burger and fries was $1.50.
Okay.
And man, once I opened that little window and they see what I was making, they was like, man, this guy, he's got it. I'm like, well, I got it from y'all.
Yeah.
But that began my love for food because I realized what the markup was.
Yes.
The markup was always great on food. You're talking almost 300, 400%, at that time. Yes. So the oil business, you were only making 50%.
Yes.
Janitorial had its good markups because it was mostly labor and chemicals and material.
Yes.
Carpet was good because that was another 70% markup.
But you didn't mention the carpet business. When did
I didn't get into that yet?
Oh, okay.
I'm saving that one.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So the carpet markup was about 70%. So I started to realize all these margins and markups. And that's what gave me the sense of numbers.
Okay.
Because one thing I tell people all the time, Kevin, I love to say this time and time again, numbers don't lie, only people do.
Yes.
I'm going to say it again, Kevin, because we dealt with some liars in our business and what we do as podcasters. Numbers can't lie, only people can lie.
Absolutely.
So I learned to respect numbers.
Okay.
And those numbers are what drove me to be the businessman I am today.
Okay.
And, back then you could spend 10 cents to make $1. Now you got to spend near 60 cents to make your 60 cent back.
Yeah, right.
So at the time that I'm talking about this little porthole in our warehouse, we had some space back there.
Okay.
So the space that we had back there became our carpet warehouse.
Okay.
So my uncle started out buying little remnants of carpet, and he would sell them to the neighborhood people. They were already pre-cut and bound and stuff like that. And then, the natural progression was, well, wow, if I'm selling these remnants, might as well start installing carpet.
Okay.
So some of the famous carpet installers that got their start with McRae Brothers were Jerry Ball floor covering.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Charlie Moore, who's still alive today, still installing carpet. Charlie Moore has to be in his late 80s.
Yeah, and he did carpet for me at my church as well as my family home. Wow.
Yep. And that's what I'm gonna tell you the church story. Remind me about the church story. That's gonna come in a second.
Yeah.
So with this carpet, they started doing installs.
Yes.
So we have family members, the Mason, Johnny Mason, one of the best carpet installers to ever do it.
Okay.
There's so many guys that work with us that we groomed, and then family members got into the business of installing carpet. And let me tell you something, man, that was one of the greatest treasures we ever discovered. Now, mind you, you probably wouldn't see these people for 2 to 3 years or 7 to 10 years because the carpets would last.
Yes.
But we had this one carpet. You're going to love this, Ken. We called it Church Carpet Red. All right.
Okay.
So what happened? Most churches, as you know, and I'm sure the churches that you got done, we put red carpet in.
Yeah.
So aside from the churches that we would do, the old Italian gangsters that my Uncle Dave affiliated himself with in Chambersburg area, we had a lot of big families. The Gambino family was at a very stronghold here in Trenton, and my uncle knew a lot of them.
Okay.
So they would get this carpet for their girlfriends. And my uncle would sell it to them real cheap because it'd be leftover carpet from the churches that was already paid for it. So we started calling that carpet Guma Red. A Guma is an Italian gangster's side piece or girlfriend, not his wife.
Yeah.
His girlfriend. So anytime we got the call for that red to be installed, we would all laugh like, oh, here's Castellano. He's got another girlfriend. We got to go put carpet in her place. We was like, well, how many girlfriends you got? He said, well, we just did so-and-so last week, this house this week.
Or,
but,
or the other way around, Tim. There's a church that ordered all his carpet. We got to call my Italian friends because he can put it on his gumas.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what he did, man. And
wow.
I just noticed how brilliant they were, and some of the things that they would do, man. As a kid, now looking back on it, Kev, it was like that was genius.
Yeah.
So here you are, you got this carpet that's already paid for.
Yes.
That now you're making 100% profit. And like I said, we just talked about numbers. Numbers don't lie. When you're making 100% profit on something, brother, you can smile when you go to sleep.
Absolutely.
And you can smile when you wake up.
Yes. Wow, man. That's a
good
good
man.
story.
Yeah, so I learned a lot, man. I learned a lot about those gangsters in the Chambersburg area as well because we were so close to them.
Yeah.
And that's also the time, Kev, as I got older, that I learned about redlining.
Okay.
All right. So our section where we were at was redlined. The money came in and it went as far as Hamilton Avenue.
Okay.
And it went back to East State Street. But Wilbur section, that zone right there, Walnut, Tioga, Euclid, that was red zone.
Wow.
It was red zoned, and now if you go through there, you can see the remnants of what they did back in the 70s and 80s, and that's why that area looks so depleted.
Yeah. Now let me stop you. Let me stop you right
yes,
there.
Sir. Yes, sir.
When did you see that? When did you notice that?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what happened.
Did you see that in the 80s?
Yes, and I'm going to tell you how.
Okay.
I went to apply for a facade loan.
Okay.
Because at the time, Kev, being a businessman, I would sit down and I would look at, we were dealing with the city, we were dealing with a lot of grants,
yes.
We were dealing with a lot of city programs. So I started paying attention to these city programs, and they had this facade program. So what a facade is the outside exterior of a building. It's the facade. People put on a facade when they're fake.
Yeah.
So I was trying to get a new facade and a new awning for McRae Brothers.
Okay.
And that's when they showed me the area, which they literally took a pen and redlined, and they said, I'm sorry, this grant doesn't work in this zone.
Wow.
So when they said that, back then I didn't pay attention to it. I said, well, that don't make sense. Why would you not bring money into the city?
Yes.
Why does that money only go into Chambersburg and this area and that area? But why not this area here? But you know why, Kev.
I know
that area was where the drugs and where the crime was.
Yeah.
And they felt like we're not going to spend any money where people aren't going to appreciate it, and we're already giving them welfare.
Yes.
So that, once again, showed me my love for being an entrepreneur. I've never been on an assistance program.
Yes.
Even when I was younger, when I first had my kids, we had food stamps, but I despised those programs because I always wanted to make my own money and be my own man. Yes. Now, don't get me wrong, Kev. I'm not too proud to beg. If I needed help, I would ask for help.
Absolutely.
But, when I learned about redlining and what they were doing, I had to just say, you know what, this is going to make me a stronger, bigger, better entrepreneur so I can have my own. Like we started this off, God bless the child that has his own.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. The freedom of thought, man. The freedom of thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but to see what was going on and understand it now and to ride through there and like I said, look at these areas and regentrification is probably not going to happen in East Trenton. Yeah. And when it does, I will be surprised. Now, don't get me wrong, when they knock down the Miller homes and they put up the rush housing, that's okay. But what are they going to do in the actual gut of Wilbur section?
Yeah.
Walnut, Tioga, Euclid, Hampton. Are they going to regentrify that area? Will white people move into Wilbur section? Yeah. I'd have to see it to believe because back in the day now, it was predominantly white.
Yeah.
And they were starting to move out, white flight, moving to the township, moving to Hamilton, Yardville, moving as far as they could from the city. But I don't see white people coming back to that section of Trenton. Yeah. And it's sad to see, man, because everybody talking about this revitalization of Trenton. And I'm sorry, Kev, I just don't see it.
Yeah. Well, I see it, but I don't see it soon, right? Because at one time, they were trying to really gentrify and build up and build around the Trenton train station. So those streets that were closer to the New Jersey Amtrak Transit Center, they were trying to bring up. And then I just saw on Facebook yesterday, right, that because of the homelessness and that population sleeping in the train station, McDonald's. And when have you heard that? McDonald's is closed permanently at the train station.
Yeah.
So what?
Yep.
Like, so they're going to have to figure that one out quickly.
Yeah. Well, Kev, we're, and I hate to say this, man, and I don't care who gets mad because I'm just speaking the truth.
Yeah.
We're the only city that doesn't have a hotel, but had one of the biggest hotel chains here.
Yes.
And it couldn't work for them.
Yep.
And it turned out to be a vacant building that is now being used by whoever's in there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we don't have to speak on that company. We know who they are.
Yeah.
But, that should tell us something as Trentonians. And plus, what do people have a reason to come here for?
Yeah.
Because downtown closes at 5 o'clock, what's left of downtown.
Yeah. Well,
the nightlife, is not as prevalent as it was before in the past.
Well, I want to give a shout out. I got to defend myself on this one.
Okay.
Give a big shout out to the to Smokehouse because I hang out there. So they close after 5. And to Big Easy.
My bad, bro. Shout out to Reggie and them in 1911, brother.
And
big respect to them. Him and his brother, please, man. Big respect to them. I love them brothers. The Hallett brothers, bro. Trust me. And everybody in the city, man. I value what they're doing. Yeah. I just wish that the area would let's say we.
Yeah.
I wish we would do better.
And we're working on some things, man. And again, shout out to Ulabala and Big Easy because he's also
shout out to Ulabala.
He's also expanding out to Ewing
Township.
Yeah,
yep. He's right near me in my food spot.
Yeah,
yep.
but hold that thought because we want to get to your food spot though. but you're right though, man. So originally that was supposed to be New Jersey Transit Hub, and they were looking to build these houses and build these condominiums. But I don't know what happened to that plan, and I've got I got to talk to someone so we can find out.
Well, Kev, I got faith in Trenton. Faith in Trenton, but I gotta call it when I see it, man. Yeah. I got faith in Trenton, but we just gotta do better as people, even as entrepreneurs, supporting other entrepreneurs. Yeah. I go down to 1911. Reggie's been to my spot. Yeah. I've been eating from Ugabala since he was on Stuyvesant, him and his brother Amifika. Yeah. I mean, come on, bro. Yeah. So I'd go for Zimbabwe right now or a comeback.
Yeah. No, so his brother was on Stuyvesant. He was on Hermitage.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. Yeah.
But I think that the vision has died down somewhat in Trenton. But we really have to work on leadership. Leadership is going to drive, right? And then the other part of it I always speak on is the public-private venture. We cannot ask the federal government, the state government, or even the city government to be at the forefront of this development. So there has to be a lot of public-private ventures, but at the same time, the leadership in the city has to be more, not so much transparent, but they also have to have a vision to want to entertain and to pull in these entrepreneurs that can make things happen.
Exactly. And you know what? That's one of the major issues because there's young people out here that want to do something, but the task seems so daunting to them that they give up. Yeah. Even with some of these loan programs and stuff like that. We have to be open to help these entrepreneurs to get started.
Yeah. Now, speaking of loan programs, and I got to give another shout out to Eric Maywar, because he was instrumental in helping out and gave a big hand to Mo and Reggie over at the Smokehouse. So I'm trying to get him to come on the show as well. But I've got to talk to him because we've got to set up some aggressive programming. We've got to do some aggressive outreach to encourage these qualified entrepreneurs to reach out to the city, to reach out to Eric and say, Eric, this is what I'm trying to do. Here's my business plan. Are there grants? Are there some assistance where I can move this project forward? So I got to reach out to Eric again.
Oh yeah, you're definitely correct about that, Kevin.
Yeah, but so we left the redlining that you were thinking about, and you understand why we are where we are.
Yes, sir.
And so when do we move into moving your food business?
Well, I'm gonna tell you how it started, Kev. In 2008, people always laugh when I tell this story because they look at me like, man, you're just ruthless. Well, I'm not ruthless. I was raised by businessmen. Yes. And just like any classroom, the school only goes to about 12th grade. Yes, then you go to college or you don't go to college. Yes. So I'm sorry, 2005, I bought an oil truck because I wanted to expand the oil business outside of Trenton to go into Hopewell Ewing, Lawrence, Robbinsville, and the surrounding areas where it was a little more rural.
Yes.
And I bought an oil truck, and I asked my dad and my uncle, Ernest, for $1 raise
Yes.
and to help out with the insurance as I used that truck to expand the business.
Yes.
So I had my CDL license, all my credentials, all my paperwork, and that money that I talked about, Kev, that I saved up, I bought my first oil truck with $16,000 cash
Wow. Okay.
that I had saved up
Okay.
from when I was a kid working in the business.
Yeah.
I saved that money up. And now, don't get me wrong, I was spending $1 or $2 here and there, but I paid cash for my first oil truck.
Yes.
I'll never forget it. And I brought it to them. I said, hey, guys, I want to expand the business, and this is what I'm trying to do, blase, blase. As for the $1 raise, at that time, we were getting, $6 a stop. But like I said, you're doing almost 100 stops a day, so you were making good money.
Yes.
Well, Kev, my uncle decided to go against his twin brother, my father, and say no.
Wow.
So when he decided to do that, I took Tim McRae Oil and I left McRae Brothers. So from 2005 to 2008, I was McRae Brothers' direct competitor until they went out of business.
What?
My uncle had died. My dad retired in 2008, and I went on to carry the name until 2018 when I sold the business. And the reason I sold the business, Kev, is because the thing that people say isn't real, which is global warming.
Yes.
Global warming is real.
Yes.
I don't care who you are. I don't care. Talk to a caveman, talk to a dinosaur, and then get back to me. All right?
Yes.
Because I can tell you right now, global warming is real. So I was doing almost 1 million gallons by myself. 2018, I told my wife and my family, when I got down to 200,000 gallons, I was going to sell the business and get out.
Okay.
So as I'm doing this transition, before I did that transition, Kev, I looked back on my past and I said, what businesses that I can go into that are almost fail-proof from the weather?
Yes.
And believe it or not, Kev, you're going to laugh. Drugs,
Yes.
tobacco,
Yes.
and alcohol.
Yes.
Those are 3 businesses
Yes.
that will never, ever be hurt by the economy because people are going to do them regardless.
Yes.
But the 4th one is the best one, and that's food.
Yes.
People eat till they die. So, Kev, I went back to those days of what I made at that little food window, and I went out and I bought a food truck, and I named it Where's the Food?
Okay, let me stop.
Also known as WTF.
Let me stop you because you're moving ahead of me because I got some questions
Yes,
for
sir.
you.
Yes, sir.
When you said you were carrying on the name, even though there was the division between your uncle and your father and yourself,
Yes.
what was your father saying to you?
Well, I'm going to tell you, Kev.
Yeah,
He never went against his twin brother.
got you.
Now, I don't know what pact they made down there in them woods in Dillon, South Carolina,
Got
but
you.
they thought the same thought. They felt the same type of way. He felt his pain and vice versa, but he
Okay.
never went against his brother. And to be honest with you, Kev, I was hurt.
I can imagine.
And bro, that was the hardest decision
Yes.
I ever had to make in my life was to leave my father and not be there by his side to protect him. He's getting older at that time, and
Yes.
he could trust me. I didn't steal.
Yes.
I came to work sober every day. I had all my credentials. Some of the people that worked for McRae Brothers didn't have what I had.
Yes.
Some of them were drug addicts. Some of them were thieves.
Yes.
And Ken, we never been robbed by nobody other than family.
Wow.
I can honestly say that. So,
Wow.
with that being said, I that was the thing that I was worried about. But what I had to focus in on, Kev, was what was my future.
Yes.
And for my uncle to say no and my dad to stick with him, I had to teach my dad a lesson.
Okay.
You raised me to be a boss,
Yes.
but now you're not allowing me to be a boss.
Yes.
So I have to leave and be my own boss.
Got you. Now let me stop you one more
Yeah,
time.
go ahead.
You had mentioned that you were doing 1 million gallons. Was that a season?
That was 1 million gallons a season. So our season would start, Kev, in
Yes.
October and run until late March. Now we're talking back in the day when the weather was cold every day, not these winters we get now.
Yeah, yeah.
You got shorts on one day and a parka the next.
Yeah, yeah. No, because you see a lot of stuff on Facebook where the kid is up to his neck in snow and you're still going to school.
Yeah.
It's like what? When it used to be where I remember when I was growing up, we lived on Spring Street, right?
Yep. Near the mayor, near Doug Palmer.
Yeah, we would in like the first week of November, my father would walk to the corner. Well, he would drive his car to the corner because he would put on snow tires with the chains. Because from November to March, it was going to be snow on the ground, and you knew it was right. And you knew it was going to be cold. It was going to be 30 or 20 for for 5 months.
Yep.
So I get you. So go ahead.
Yeah, but not now.
Yeah, not now. Not now. Yeah. Okay, so you said to yourself, when the volume for the season gets to be at 200,000, you're going to think about selling the business or moving on.
I had to, because at that point in time, Kev, insurance for an oil truck. I mean, I was paying $21,000 just in liability insurance.
Wow.
And that came every year, no matter what.
Yes.
But when your bills start to outweigh your income, it's time to make an adjustment. And any businessman, that you see that fails, there's somewhere he didn't make an adjustment when he seen what he knew he should have made an adjustment.
Yes. So
I made that adjustment. I made that line for myself in the sand. I said, when I get here, this is it. So I bought this food truck in the summer of 2013, and I bought the food truck to supplement my income.
Yes. Because
I've seen the market changing. Couldn't afford a restaurant at the time. Wasn't sure if I wanted a restaurant at the time, but that food truck surge came to Trenton, New Jersey around 2010, 2012.
Yes.
So I was watching the wave, and I said, you know what, Tim? You already did it. Jump in here. You already drive trucks. You already know how to be mobile.
Yes.
You know what I mean? All of our businesses were mobile. We were in the office, man. It was to use the bathroom, grab some paperwork, and get back out there on the road.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I was used to always being on the go. So I bought a food truck in Florida, and I paid $74,000 for it. And I drove it back from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, all the way back to Trenton.
Wow.
So now the truck was called WTF.
Yes.
So that's what I put on the side. Yes. I didn't put no description of food, nothing else. Just a few little sayings on the side and on the back door, and a big WTF out of an explosion. So I'm from the old Batman era. So, the bang, pow.
Yeah.
I always like loud graphics.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to be marketing something, you want something where it's going to attract their attention.
Absolutely.
So WTF attracted their attention. Now, my friends and family told me, oh, Tim, don't name it that. You're going to hurt yourself. That means such and such. Well, I said, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
What it means to me is, where's the food?
Yeah.
However you take it is on you. Yeah. So I used a guerrilla marketing technique to build my brand.
Fantastic. Because, I must admit, man, when I first saw the truck, that's the first thing I said, what the fuck?
What do that? This guy must be crazy.
Yeah. But I didn't know it was your truck. I just said, what the?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I wanted people to say when they looked at the truck.
Yeah,
I said, well, what better way to make it say it? Put it on there.
Yeah, you were already in our minds subliminally.
Exactly. And you know what, Kev? It was one of the best things I ever did. Because
yes, sir.
Now, I knew in the beginning I probably wouldn't do many churches or many schools. But I knew once people understood what it stood for, I would have to spell it out. And that's what I did. With social media, I was able to tell people what it meant.
Yes.
And then they started to get it. They got to pun in it.
Yes.
Listen, man, one thing about food makes you smile.
Absolutely.
So if you want to smile, you want to be around something that makes you laugh, I like to create an environment where you feel happy.
Yes.
I don't want to eat no food from nobody that's mean or mad, because we transfer spirits through different things.
Yes.
Through liquor, through conversation, the people you hang with, the food you eat. I wanted everything that I passed on to the people to be positive.
Got you.
Laughing, friendly, smile on your face. Now, don't get me wrong, Cass. Everybody might not like me, and I'm not for everybody.
Yes.
And I get that. But for the most people that know me, they know when they see Tim McRae, they're going to get greeted with a smile.
Yes.
And I'm going to have something funny to say. And I just want to see your teeth as well. I want to see you laugh and have fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And food was an instant gratification, because if somebody don't like something, as soon as they bite into it, they're going to do two things. They're going to say, it's good. And they're going to look at you like, man, let me get my money back.
Yeah.
So it's not something where you have to question it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And Karen, let me tell you, brother, that was probably one of the best and smartest moves I did. But I just did to supplement my income. I had no idea it was going to take over my life.
Yeah.
And it has.
Yes.
And I'm so glad that it did, man, because like I said, the oil business at that time, and with the global warming and the weather now, I mean, come on, people, y'all been outside.
Now,
These ain't the winters of the past.
absolutely. Now,
We had what, one snowstorm this winter?
yeah, and that was too much for me. Listen, when did you? So you've got the food truck though, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, when did you start to look at having a permanent location? Because I know that's yeah.
You're going to laugh.
Yeah.
I started to do that when I started to go to these events. So what happened with the truck is the truck became very, very popular.
Yes.
And we were getting called everywhere. Kevin, I was going as far as New York and as far as south as Maryland and Virginia.
What?
Yeah, bro, we were getting calls everywhere because through social media,
yes.
I started just doing, little crazy things. And, if you go to my social media, which is WTF_food truck,
yes.
between my commercials and my antics, our name already went against the grain. So everything I did as far as marketing, I went against the grain.
Wow. Okay. Got you.
No, I touched on those little levels. I pushed that button of craziness,
yes.
and it started to blow up. Yes. So social media at this time was blowing up, Instagram and Facebook. And it was, all I had to do was post something and press a button, and I could reach thousands of people.
Yes.
And it was amazing to me. And then it just started to take off from there. And once that happened, man, listen, it was time to look for another location, because I said to myself, should I buy another truck or should I find a location?
Yes.
So the way I stumbled on where I'm at now, which is at 1543 Parkway Avenue in West Trenton, New Jersey, also known as Ewing Township, but the mailing address is West Trenton.
Yes.
I used to go into this place, Paserno's, which is also Paserno's for Fellies, and I would go in there to buy my propane. So as I was in there filling up my propane tanks for my food truck to go to these different events, because we had to pay for these events, Kev.
Oh yeah.
So we were paying $350, $400. So if I went and did 4 events at $300-400, I was paying $1,200, $1,500 a month just to go to these events and hopefully make some money, which we always did because we had a line because of the social media.
Yes.
So as I'm in this gas station getting propane, they had a little hot dog stand there that was sitting there vacant, empty.
Okay.
Nobody in it. At the time, it was called Pops, and then one time it was called Johnny's Hot Dogs.
Okay.
And the old Italian guy used to say, Pop, that's what I call him. Yo, Pop, what are you doing over there? Oh, you got to talk to my son. He's running the place, but it's empty, and, we want to rent it. Man, listen, it took me about 4 or 5 months to get a hold of this guy.
Got you.
And I said to myself, who in the world you got to chase down to put money in their pocket? I'm a businessman.
Yeah.
If you want to spend some money with me, you're going to find me real quick.
Yeah.
I'm going to show up, I'm going to appear, I'm going to call you, I'm going to do something. So anyway, I finally got a chance to rent the place.
Yeah.
So when I started renting the place, I was able to make more money there than I could on the food truck because people were able to come to me. Now, in the beginning, it was a little slow.
Yeah.
Their clientele, they would ask the gas station attendants how the food was. And then guess what? The gas station shut down, and I was the only thing left on the property. So through my social media, I was able to build up a fan base of people that now could find me in one location. And Kev, they came and they started lining up, and they ain't stopped lining up since.
Wow.
And I'm about to reopen April 1st. Wow. And Lord have mercy, let me tell you, the first 2 days, I got to put my boots on and a raincoat because, boy, I'm going to be sweating wet. But the main thing that I noticed is when you build something, the old saying, if you build it, they'll come.
Yes.
But if you build it, you add good food and customer service. I got all that training from McRae Brothers way back when I was a kid, and I just transferred it into the food truck. Then I transferred it from the food truck to the permanent location we're at now. And I actually sold the food truck in 2018 because I couldn't. The store was doing so well, I couldn't keep up with the truck.
Wow.
And plus, right before COVID hit, all the events were gone. Yeah. There was no more mass gatherings. Yeah. So it was almost like the creator knew something was coming and was able to warn me and said, man, sell the truck. So I sold it to a good friend of mine who still has it today, Alex of Mom and Pa's Tex-Mex Barbecue. Yes. And he rewrapped the truck. And I still go visit it once in a blue moon because I do miss seeing it. But I sold the truck, Kev, and from there, the store, we've been blessed, man. And now I'm working with my cousin who's a vegan chef, Eric Reed from BBQ Philly. Yeah. We are trying to merge the first carnivorous and plant-based restaurant with its own cook line out of respect for vegans. Yes. So we're seeking out a location. We've been looking at different locations and we think we have one, but I'm not saying nothing till I get the keys in my hand.
But can I say this? Can I ask this
Yes,
question?
sir.
Is it going to be in Mercer County?
It's going to be in Mercer County.
Okay.
This is a warm market for me. And what I mean by warm market, I'm born and raised here, Kev.
Yes.
So I just like you, brother, I know a lot of people, and I want to serve my community first.
Okay.
Because I'm big on community, Kev.
Okay.
One thing I've noticed, and my family's been serving the community ever since I was a kid, I can't stop.
Yeah.
I like people. I like to see them happy. I want to know that they're getting a good product from a clean facility, from a person that cares.
Yes.
You know, these big chains, man, they don't care. They don't care about you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They get their money, and that's it. These mom and pop shops, we care.
Yeah.
I take pride in everything that goes out that window.
Yes.
You know, I know all my food. I know all my products that I'm putting out there. I've eaten them. You know, I'm not some chain restaurant that's mass producing everything. I like to consider what we do. It's not fast food. It's fresh food fast.
Yes. Yes. Say that one more time, Tim. Say that one more time.
It's not fast food. It's fresh food fast.
Yes.
When you come to WTF.
Yes. Yeah. Now, I want. You had touched on your.
Yes, sir.
Your Instagram. I've seen some of your posts, man. They are quite comical. So I think in the next 3 years, if not now, man, you should do a whole series of just funny commercials and your outtakes, man, because that's cool too.
Thank you, Kev.
You could be a comedian too, you know, while you do the food.
Well, you laugh, Kev. I pride myself, man, on making people laugh, and my family, believe it or not, you know, I'm from 10 kids. So in our house, man, there was nothing but laughter and love.
Yes.
I didn't learn hate till I started coming outside the house and dealing with people in the real world.
Wow.
In our house, man, you know, my mom and dad were Pentecostal ministers, but they had a great sense of humor, man.
Yes.
And we, as kids, every last one of my brothers and sisters, man, we picked with each other, we laughed with each other. I can't remember a day, man, that we didn't smile, laugh, and joke about something.
Got you.
But that I tried to translate that into my businesses as well.
Got you.
Because, you know, it's easy to deal with a smiling face.
Absolutely.
When you see somebody and they're all frowned up and you're like, oh, here we go, I got to deal with this.
Yeah.
You see somebody smiling, and at least if you're having a bad day, you say, well, at least this guy's in a good mood.
Yes. Yes.
And that's what I pride myself for, man. So as far as the commercials and stuff, Kev, I got a crazy mind, brother. And my real goal is, you know, I've done some acting in the past. My real goal is, man, I want to be an actor, comedian, philanthropist, entrepreneur. Yes. I love dealing with people, man, and I love that camera. I've been like that since a little kid. You turn the camera on, I'm going to act the fool.
Yeah, lights, camera, action. There's
yes,
Tim.
Sir.
There's Tim.
Yeah, and I write my own skits. So I've been a comedy writer. I used to write stories as a kid. I used to write plays.
Okay.
Me and my friend Hassan Kelly, we used to do plays at the Carver Y, and we would write these plays. So I love writing, man. I've always been an avid reader, but I love to write comedy. Comedy, man, I love comedy. Wow. And man, listen, when I say I love comedy, I love comedy. I'd rather laugh and cry any day.
Understood. Now, Tim, I got to ask this question because I think I already know part of the answer. So, looking at the crystal ball, 2 years, 3 years from now, what's your next business opportunity that you're pursuing?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now what my plans are to have a franchise with WTF and VBQ Philly. Okay. And what VBQ Philly stands for is vegan barbecue.
Got you.
So Eric was operating out of Philly. He's back here now in New Jersey. As we said, we're seeking out locations. Yes. So our goal as two black entrepreneurs is to fuse our businesses together.
Yes.
Create an atmosphere where a vegetarian can come and eat or a carnivorous person can come and eat. What I mean by carnivorous, obviously, is a meat eater and plant-based. Yes. Listen, we can't keep denying these two things. Yes. A lot of people are having changes due to their diet, due to disease, illness, whatever they need to change their diet for, or just to eat better. So we want to give them an option where they can come under one roof and both parties, husband, wife, family, whatever, can get what they want instead of just being a vegan option.
Absolutely.
Because let me tell you something, Kev. Burger King, McDonald's, whatever vegan stuff they have, it's going over that same fryer. Yep. It's going into that same grease with meat. It's going across that same grill. That meat's been on it. Yes. But we want to honor these vegans, these true vegans, and have them a surface that's meat's never touched. So it would be two separate cook lines under the same roof. So my goal is to franchise that. And I'm going to tell you the truth, Kev, I want to franchise from the top to the bottom of the East Coast. So from Bangor, Maine to the tip of Florida. But one step at a time. We're starting on this first one. And once we get this first one open and have a model,
Yes.
I think that's going to be the wave of the future, man. Because listen, I've seen restaurants come and go,
Yes.
and we know the ones that's going to be here, and we see the ones that's prospering now. You know, I laugh at people because it makes me laugh, and I'm just going to bring the name up, not sponsored by them. Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
That food is fried,
Yeah.
but people will line up for it. Like, you would think that they had crack in that chicken.
Yeah.
There's over 53 different ingredients in their chicken sandwich. So when people think something's healthier, you know, hey, so big, y'all do what y'all got to do.
Yeah.
All right. But these franchises that are popping up, they need to be balanced out by the mom and pop shops.
Yes.
You know, we have a lot of people, a lot of restaurateurs out of Atlanta who are now starting to franchise. And they look like me and you, Kev,
Awesome.
and that's what I want to see.
Awesome.
I want to see franchisees that look like you and me.
Yes.
No disrespect to anybody else.
No. I want to see that too.
Yeah, the king been around for years. We've been seeing the clown for forever.
Yeah.
we know who Wendy is. Now we got another chicken head popping up.
Absolutely.
But now what we need to see is these next wave of entrepreneurs
Yes.
and black franchises with mom and pop shops that care about the quality of food that they're putting out there.
Yes, man.
And that's where I'm at with WTF and BBQ Philly.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. But let me ask this question, right?
Yes, sir.
So that looks to be like a 2-year or less vision, right?
Yeah, well, we're working on that now.
Okay. Now my next question is, because it's kind of like twofold. With all of your entrepreneurial experience, what has been the most exciting thing that you've enjoyed doing thus far?
Honestly, Kev, you gonna laugh. It's been acting, man. These commercials, these comedy skits. I really love the camera, man. I really love the camera. So I'm actively seeking an agent. I don't have one, but I've been in movies. I put myself out there. I'm listed on Backstage. So Backstage gives you all the acting gigs. And, you know, I got a lot of stuff coming up and a lot of stuff that I'm working on. I'm just keeping it under wraps till people see it. But, Kev, I love to act, man. I got bit by the acting bug a long time ago. I was in a movie called The Siege with Denzel Washington back in the late 90s. And I'll never forget that because the scene that Denzel did was right near my car. He actually jumped over the hood of my car. So in between takes, he was talking to me. And I said to myself, I'm standing here talking to Denzel Washington. And I said, ain't nobody going to believe me till I show him this clip. And I asked him, I said, Denzel, how do you think how'd you get where you're at? And he said, being consistent, going on different calls, even if they wasn't paying nothing. And then the person that gave him this break, of course, Spike Lee, Samuel Jackson, all them guys. If you knew Samuel Jackson was a junkie. He was a junkie before he became an actor. I don't know if people know that.
Wait. So I mean, I'm listening to you, but you're telling me that. Well, I know I hear the Denzel part, but you're saying to me, and you're saying to the listening audience, that out of everything that you've done so far, the biggest bug that's been holding on to you has been acting?
Yeah, man, I just love the camera. I love the camera, and I love comedy.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's what's been able to help me thrive in this food business because I'm not afraid to get in front of people. Every day we act, Kev. Every day we act. Yes. When we're talking to people, you know, you got to put on a certain act for this person. Then you got the grumpy person. You got to put on a certain act for that person. Then you got the liar. You know, he about to lie to you, so you got to put on a certain act with him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I got you.
Yeah, so every day we're all actors at the end of the day.
Yes.
It's just what face you want to wear 24/7.
Got you. Now, so what nuggets would be a takeaway that you would want to give to the listening audience as far as contributing to your success?
Okay. Well, first and foremost, Kev, I want to tell you, first of all, thank you for having me on the show today.
Hey, my pleasure, brother. My pleasure.
And the best thing I could tell people is, one, don't be afraid to change careers no matter how old you are.
Yes.
Two, if you hate your job, find something that you like and do it because life is too short.
Yes.
And let me tell you something, Kev. I knew from day one I wasn't going to retire from a company with 40, 50 years in and get that little watch and that little retirement pension,
Yes.
I know that I'm going to be an entrepreneur and I'm going to work until they throw dirt on the top of my coffin.
Yes.
But I tell people all the time, man, you got to find something that you love to do and make money doing it.
Yes.
That's it. You got to be happy in life, man, because that going to a job, man, dealing with people you don't like, that was never me, Kevin. I've had jobs before in the past, of course.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I've had jobs, but I would even tell these guys doing these jobs, the bosses, the CEOs, you know, the person that owned the podcast network, I'm going to survive with or without you.
Yes.
Because I have such a drive and an entrepreneurial spirit. You can't stop me from what I'm about to do, and you can't stop my blessings.
Yes.
No matter how hard you try, no matter what lie you tell, no matter how you try and cat me or put me into I had a boss tell me one time, well, Tim, you see through a window this big. You know, he gave me the ceiling window story.
Yeah, yeah.
I said, well, that's the problem. You giving me the window ceiling story,
Yes.
but I'm standing outside. So my opportunity is limitless.
Yes. Yes.
Just like a bird, I
Yes.
can get up there in the sky.
Absolutely.
So what I would tell anybody, man, whatever your passion is, whatever your dream or goal is,
Yes.
don't stop, man. Chase it.
Got you.
Chase it.
Yes.
And that's what I've been doing, Kev. I've been chasing stuff all this time. But I've raised a family.
Yes.
I have 3 beautiful kids, 4 grandchildren, a home. This is my second home.
Yes.
I've had over 13 cars, all paid for. I've lived a great life, man, but I'm not done yet.
Yes.
And you're never too old to pivot and change directions. If COVID didn't teach us anything, COVID should have showed you how to change directions.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And, man, if you didn't pivot during then,
Yes.
Kev, I watched a lot of my friends that were in restaurants go out of business.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have indoor seating.
Yes.
I made more money during COVID, and I couldn't even brag about it because I see my friends' restaurants going out of business.
Yes.
Nobody's coming in because they have no indoor seating. They're closed. We had a drive-through window, Kev.
Yes.
I was pumping food out of there like I was McDonald's and printing my own money, and I couldn't brag about it. I had to stay humble, but I realized I had to pivot. But when they laughed at me for not having indoor seating and closing in the winter,
Yes.
I said, well, that's why you never laugh at somebody.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because a broken clock is right twice a day.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No, or once a day.
Twice a day. I got you. Now, but Tim, now listen, though. Listen. With all of your experience, what has been one of those nudging things that's always been like gnawing at you beyond the acting? What's been that thing you've been chasing the most?
Honestly, Kev,
beyond the acting.
The franchise. Franchise thing.
Okay.
Kev, I want to be able to visit my stores. I want to be that happy clown to show up at the building and wave and shake hands and kiss babies.
Yeah. So that.
I want to be able to provide a service for people that I provided here in my hometown of Trenton, New Jersey.
Gotcha.
And I want to be able to take that down the East Coast and worldwide if I can, Kev.
Gotcha.
Because you know what? Sometimes when we dream, we put a limit on our dreams.
Absolutely.
I don't put a limit on my dreams, Kev.
Gotcha.
And this franchise thing is the next thing for me because the key to a true entrepreneur is to be able to make money while you're not at work.
Yes. To make money while
to
you're
be able to
sleeping.
make money while you're sleeping.
Yes.
That is a blessing, and that's what I want to do. I want to know if I duplicate myself. If I made this by myself,
yes.
Imagine if I duplicate myself.
Got you.
So that's definitely been the other thing. Is this franchise, and I'm not giving up on it. Like I said, we're meeting resistance with different properties and stuff that we're finding.
Yeah.
But sooner or later, the creator is going to present an opportunity to us, and we're going to move in silence to make it happen. And once it happens, from there on out, Kev,
yes.
y'all can forget it. The
Absolutely.
sky's the limit for me. Then I'm going for the next franchise because all I got to do is show my investors the first model.
Yes.
The reason we can't do that now is because we don't have indoor seating and we do close for 4 to 5 months of the year.
Yes. No, but Tim, I'm gonna wish you nothing but success.
Thank you, brother.
You and I are gonna stay connected, and
always.
We're definitely gonna have to do a part 2 to this. But before I leave you, can you leave the listening audience with how they can follow you and how they can stay in contact with you?
Okay. First and foremost, listeners, I'm going to let you know you can find me first of all on my Instagram channel.
Yes.
WTF _ food truck. I'm going to say it again slower. WTF _ food truck. At Facebook, you can also find me WTF Food Truck, spelled out F-O-O-D, truck, T-R-U-C-K. Also, we also have a podcast, which you can find me on, which is Rich and Tim Unleashed. I'm going to spell that out. Yeah. Rich, R-I-C, Unleashed, U-N-L-E-A-S-H-E-D, Unleashed. Rich and Tim Unleashed. You can just Google Tim McRae, and all my information will pop up. But I tell people all the time, start with WTF, and just, man, from there, you're going to have to troll, and you'll see everything we're doing. Because, listen, Kev, I like to say this all the time, too. Yes, the evolution will be televised.
Yes, sir. Tim, listen, brother, man, you gave me so much energy. I'm ready to go out and conquer the world today, brother. That's
man,
all right.
Me too. Look, it's raining outside right now. I'm going out with no rain jacket, no umbrella.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I'm going to run in between the raindrops.
Absolutely. Tim, brother, nothing but love, man. Let's stay connected.
Once again, Kev, thank you for having me, man. And to your listening audience, listen, y'all better listen to this guy, man. He's bringing y'all something that Trenton needs very badly.
Yeah. Well, no,
and the world.
There you go. And the world, brother. In the world. There's no limit. There's no limit.
Nah, not at all, man. No limit.
Brother Tim, nothing but love. I'm so glad we got a chance to reconnect and correct ourselves from the first podcast.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And listen, we don't wish nothing bad on people, but let me say this, Kev, about the network we were with.
Yes.
Sometimes, man, it's good to realize where the snake is. Absolutely. Because you have to cut the head off.
Absolutely.
Because the grass is designed to hide the snake.
Yes.
But once he pops his head up, you cut the head off the snake and the body will follow.
Felt like just for a second we had church. So amen, brother.
Amen.
Tim, you have a great day, man. I'm going to talk and text with you later on, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you to your audience for listening to me, y'all. I hope I didn't beat your eardrums too hard.
All beautiful, brother. All beautiful.
All right. You know where I'm at? You know what I'm doing.
Yes, sir. Peace, man.
Come get it.
Yes, sir.
That concludes another episode of The Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. We hope you found this episode informative and enlightening. If you have any questions or comments about any of our episodes, please call 609-731-9311 or email kevin@minding-our-business.com. We look forward to joining us for our next one. Until next time.